this is Editing Charmaine here. My upload would not export. I tried several times, so I did have to split the video up into two separate videos. So what you're about to watch is actually the front yard garden tour. Thank you so much for watching and be blessed.
All right, so here we are in the front yard. Yes, queen, yes. All right, here we are. This right here is a pumpkin vine. Okay, it is a pumpkin vine. And I'll show you what container it's coming from. I do need to harvest these blueberries as soon as possible. I have gotten lots of blueberries in the freezer. I have had zero problems with birds in all the years that I've been growing blueberries. So I don't know what that's all about. Just thank you, Jesus. All right, look at this. Absolutely stunning. Okay. Absolutely stunning begonia. This is the Falls Peach or Peach Falls begonia. I've got two in these little tiny dollar store planters. Man, can I just tell you how wonderful these things? I can't even tell you. I can show you how wonderful these things are doing. I had a couple of spider friends. Here that are like, hey girl, hey. This Christmas box bush, I need to prune. As you can see, it has bounced back with a vengeance. I hacked the crap out of this. It looked very bad. But now it's like, I'm growing back. So I need to cut all of this, shape it, all of those things. Because now bridges are forming with spiders and stuff, and that I'm not about that life. So I still just have that one hosta here, and then there's one, two, three, because this one is part of this. So there's three hellebores in this section, along with one brennera. And I mean, these things always look like they're not going to come back, but they always do. But there is that pumpkin, and there's one of the pumpkins down here. There was another one that was ripened, but I think the slugs and insects got to before it could harden. There's lots more borage. There's always borage in this area. This, I think, is a pineapple ground cherry or a Molly's, Aunt Molly's ground cherry, one of the two. I will put some sluggo down there just to keep it safe. I was wondering if any of these were going to grow back this year, and I see that there is one here. My blueberries. This is a salvia along with the female. This one doesn't need a male. Hardy kiwi. This is the first full year I've had this in, so I don't think it's going to produce anything for me, but we'll see. And then let me close my gate real quick in case the dogs mysteriously appear. These are straw flowers. They are so beautiful. I love straw flowers. I will be growing much more of these next year. A variety of different colors. I have this white one here and this like peachy gold one. Oh man, that's beautiful. I do have some Grumfrina down here. I had grown a few different colors, but they ended up in this tiny container because I didn't know where to put them. I hadn't planned that far ahead. I will do better next year. Along with my red Abyssinian banana plants. Oh my gosh, guys, look at this. Oh, I missed it, but there was a giant bee that was like, asters, hey, I love it. I love it. I love them too. This is my first year of growing asters, and I will definitely be growing them again. And of course, Rebecca. This is a cherry brandy. Had to grow these. I saw them at one of the demonstration gardens I volunteer at, and I was like, yep, I'm doing it. And I did. Look at this. Let me see if I can get that. That bee is living its best life. It's like, hey girl, hey. I forget the name of these off the top of my head, but this is my first year growing them as well. Of course, got some zinnias here that are on their last leg. Oops, sorry guys. This right here is another pineapple tomato. And I'm thinking I might have some of these with some blossom end rot. But I don't know. So I will be watering these with some CalMag here, probably today. This is a basil. I don't know what variety this is. I just popped plants in just about anywhere. But if you look in the front, and let me just do one of these, because yeah, spiders love this section because it's so crazy. If you just look in the front, you can see these leaves right here. This is where that pumpkin is coming from. I planted it in the center, or in the front right there, and it is like doing all the things. And it is growing over here into my hybrid honeycomb tomato, which is also doing great. And I need to harvest. There's lots that I need to harvest here, and lots more to come. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a lot of tomatoes, a lot more tomatoes off of this plant. And then this container had the amaranth. There's a little tiny container that you are not going to be able to see with all of this foliage. There's plants, there's weeds, there's borage, tomatoes. So, but there's some red amaranth in here that I just wanted to grow just to see if it would grow in that container, and it did. It's like, hey girl, hey. It's not going to get as drastically big as some of the other amaranth plants do because it's in a small container. So there it is. In front, this is a 65-gallon container right here. You can just see the edge of it, I think. And there is a squash in the center, but I think it just it didn't get enough sun, and so it really hasn't produced. And I grew corn. This is not going to be the best corn year for me because I didn't put enough corn. I planted the stuff out way too early and it was too cold, and I didn't protect it. And I didn't put enough out. So, that's just a lesson learned. I am going to try corn again in this raised bed next year, but I'll put it out a little bit later, and I will also plant a lot more because it can take a lot more than is in there right now. Okay, this is that Christmas box. Again, it's doing beautifully. I have another Brunnera over here, which is flowering. And then there's another hellebore here. Hold on, guys. There's another hellebore right here. And a lungwort that has some powdery mildew. I am going to be spraying this probably today. And then there is another hosta back there. This crap load of containers Mama's going to take and rinse out for me, and we'll put that on the shelving unit I mentioned in the back. Here's another hellebore in this planter right here. And then there is another Peach Falls begonia. There's two. And then this mint needs some serious love. I don't want it to die. This I got from somebody. This is a Moroccan mint plant, which I'm sure if I cut it back, it'll grow. And then these are two hibiscus. There's a white one, and then this one's going to be like a peachy colored one that I got. And we're going to plant these out. This is Persian basil. doing great in this little tiny container here. That one is a sterile comfrey. Here's another sterile comfrey that I didn't necessarily mean to have here in this location in this container, but there it is, living its best life. Here's another tower. Guys, let's back this up just a little bit. This one had peppers mostly, and some of the peppers didn't make it. So I planted out some flowers and this okra. And this is my first year growing okra. This is a burgundy variety. There is a Clemson spineless over here as well somewhere. I have some flowers I need to deadhead, and I don't do a lot of deadheading, but I will. It's got zinnias. This is should be on its way out. This is a morning glory. I planted here foolishly, and I cut it so that it wouldn't continue to take over. I have some red amber peppers here. And I also have, this is just a leftover strawberry plant down there. More okra. This one is a Alma paprika. I harvested one of those already. This is more Alma paprika right here. Zinnias. This is an Escamillo, or will be an Escamillo pepper. And then this thing that needs some love, Rebel Starfighter. I did harvest one of these that was ripe, but I'm going to have to water and prune all of this dead stuff off, which I think is because it just doesn't have enough soil. And that soil was just too hot. Look at these zinnias though, guys. Man, those are gorgeous. They are beautiful. But look at that cluster of tomatoes right there. Oh my gosh, those are Rebel Starfighters. I thought they were little small tomatoes. Y'all, one day I'm gonna learn to read seed packets. Okay, so I needed to reach something, so I brought my little stool that was in the backyard up here. I have a few of these water containers that I use for feeding my plants. I'd like to get maybe one more for the front and like 3 more for the back. It saves so much time to just fill 3 or 4 containers up at once instead of doing it one at a time. This is such a gorgeous lamb's ear right here. There's 2 dahlias that I got from another Master Gardener friend. So I don't really know what they're gonna look like. Be yellowish orange or something maybe. And there's a rhubarb here. Look at this business, guys. Hold on. Let me see if I can get my shadow out of the way so you can see it. You see those leaves right there? That's squash. Let's see if we can follow the rabbit hole. Oh yeah, I do have some of these, maybe silver dollar eucalyptus. They're still in their little pots. Okay. I think this is the Bianca di Tresti. I just harvested another one off of this, was it yesterday? But there's more. Oh gosh, I didn't see that one. Holy moly. There's one right there. And yeah, these are all coming out of this one 36-inch diameter raised bed right here. Now behind it is, there's 2 hostas, and there's supposed to be some caladiums coming up. Jury's still out. These are some snapdragons. Late bloomers here because they don't get as much sun in this location. And then this is my container of melons, which, I don't know, is growing something. It needs some love, water, and food. And I definitely needed to have fed this a lot more than I did. So we'll get on that. I do have some little teeny tiny melons about the plant. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so here we are in the corner, and I have, this is a male hardy kiwi along with some beans. This is an unknown bean variety that I just grabbed the seeds from one of the demo gardens. And yeah, this is a salvia, which is doing wonderfully. It took some time for it to get back to this level. My poor little marigolds. I mean, they're still doing their thing, but they are like tired, y'all. Of course, we know what these are. And they are in the next section over. But I need to support those a lot better, those tomatillos. And I also need to prune those things a lot better. Because this next one next to it is a Thorburns Lemon Blush tomato. That has just sprawled. It's like it's all over. The tomatoes have become one. This is my other Alice's Dream tomato, and it's got a branch here. It's got a branch here. It's got this one that's kind of upright in this little tomato cage. I think not even I think. I will have to put a stake in here. Otherwise, this is just going to tip over. And then there's some beans here that it looks like I might need to harvest here today. And then we have, look at these marigolds, guys. Those are doing so nice. Beautiful. And that's a weed. This is that columbine. Don't know what it's going to do. These are exactly what they look like. Peaches. More salvia. This is a salvia too that hasn't done much. More columbine. And then this plant right here is a clove currant. Look at these. I mean, it didn't produce much this year, but this is the first full year that I've had it. I literally planted it last fall. Yeah, they are. They're going to go in the house with me. It is time for me to harvest these peaches. So I will endeavor to do those today as well. But this is the orchard. I'm going to show you on the other side a little bit of an update. Okay, isn't this the most wonderful thing? Now, even with the heads chopped off of the gaillardias, I mean, all the leaves are gone. So the gaillardias look like they're bald headed. But look at these snapdragons, guys. Oh my gosh. They're so beautiful. This is my first year growing snapdragons. Sold. I am sold. Okay. This was a container full of foxgloves, and really only one of them came to fruition. But hopefully next year that'll be different. This is my catmint that needs to be deadheaded for real. Full real. And then, of course, we have echinacea, which is majestic. I love it so much, and so did the bees. And this little container is my struggling. This little container is my struggle bus lilac, of course. Of course it's struggling because it's in a container and not in the ground. And then these, of course, are milkweed. I will be growing a lot more milkweed next year. Some of the more colorful milkweeds, I think, as well. Of course, I got this container of sedums right here next to my chicken. My chicken that glows in the dark. But look at my little sedums. They are doing fabulously. Over here, I have another tower. It originally just had a bunch of peppers, but some of those peppers didn't survive. So now there's peppers plus flowers. Here goes some zinnias. There goes some zinnias there. And then there's also beans. And so this tower was attacked by aphids, you know, and I sprayed them off and sprayed them off. And they kept coming back. And I just couldn't figure it out. You know where those aphids are coming from? This blasted plum tree that I still haven't completely excavated. So I cut down a little bit more of the plum tree. I still need to cut down the rest of it. And I did go ahead and put some neem oil. And I also, the neem oil container also had some kaolin clay. So the kaolin clay also got on some of these leaves up here. So I have some beans in here. There's 2 artichokes. Only one is doing anything, and that's this one. And then I have these runners, which, you know, they're doing what they do. We'll see if they produce anything. I don't know. Season's getting a little late now, and I don't see any fruit, so, or any appreciable fruit. But there are some dragon tongue beans in here I've been harvesting from pretty regularly. I planted some more Thai soldier beans in here. There's another milkweed. We'll see if it has time to come to flower. It should. Another squash. I probably won't do anything because I planted it so late. And then there's more beans. These are more dragon tongue beans, which I'm hoping to get a really good harvest before the end of the season. There's a couple fairy tale mini eggplants that I had spares of, and I just put them out here. Some more pepper plants of some variety. Oh, mini bell mix. We'll see if they do anything before the end of the season. They might because they're small peppers. And this bit of gloriousness right here is purple basil, of course, and then a bunches of peppers. And those peppers are all planted very closely together to prevent sun scald because it's full sun up here. And just as an experiment, those were all the plants I had left, so I put them all in. They will be getting fed here, if not today, then tomorrow for sure. That is my Dusty Miller. And if you'll notice, there's this whole area back here that's open. You see the remnants of my apple tree. If you missed my short, that thing split. You can't even see the split because of the leaves right there that are on top of it, but it split. I tried to pull it together. It did not work. It split and it fell partially on my pear tree, and so it was leaning over the fence that way. I'm trying to pull it up. I do need to go through and thin those pears, but they're not going to produce as well. Nothing is producing as well as that apple tree did this year. And I still have some leftover fruit over there to pick up, but I need to get the rest of this out. I need to put some tree supports on this pear tree. I need to take that out, the rest of this plum tree out, and then that'll give more space for the peach back there, and also the what used to be a fruit cocktail but really is just a cherry tree now to produce. Hopefully those will produce better next year. I got a couple yarrows here. There's one there. There's one there. Some decorative grasses. These 2 containers of strawberries that I need to just empty out and repot up. And then there's this. Sorry. This dahlia right here. Of course, this one is going over, so I need to go ahead and cut it off. But beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, look at this. The cafe au lait is starting to bloom. So you can see what it looked like. There are some bean plants in here that I don't know if they're going to do anything. I just had them kind of climb. I wanted them to climb up the fence. But it looks like they're sort of doing that. Here is my grapevine, which is doing okay, but needs some love. It's been this light green color this entire time, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out that for sure. Here's there's a container of weeds here, and then there's echinacea and yarrow in this one. And here we are in my sunflower bed. You can see the sunflowers. Several of them have gone over. I just leave the heads there for the birds and other creatures. And then these are those red torch sunflowers. Only two, it looks like only two of the plants survived. So I'm gonna have to work that out for next year. And then I have these little pumpkin plants here. There's supposed to be a black bear. I only have those two pumpkins on there. I think they just didn't get enough light in here. Okay, so we got mint, strawberries, and more mint, and more mint, and there's corn, and also there is squash. This squash has been producing quite a bit. I've harvested several, and there's only two plants that made it. There's only two plants that made it. This is the Emerald Delight. But these two plants, man, they held their own. This corn did nothing, but of course, I don't think it had enough light or anything else with all the mint that was going on. So, well, let's keep going over here so you can see. There are a couple containers that did have strawberries in them. As you can see, this mint came from here somewhere and just migrated. There's also a rose that I have cut down every year for several years. I even poured vinegar over it. I cut out as much of the root ball as I could, and it has done nothing. It keeps growing back. But I just want you guys to see this real quick. So the purple, that's the mint and flower. So many bees over here. And of course, I got blueberries out the wazoo that I need to harvest so I can finish up the crop. And then in front of us right here is a 100-gallon bed of tomatoes. And I say this every single flipping year that I am going to plant fewer plants in this planter, fewer tomatoes. In fact, I wasn't even going to put the tomatoes in here, truth be told. I say it every year. I'm not going to do it because this is what happens. And it's just, it gets to be a little crazy. There's 5 different types of tomatoes here. And there's a squash in the center that is growing. But I don't know. Like that black tomato right there, that's not the plant that's planted right there. It's just the tomato that's there. There's a Black Beauty. There's 2 of the striped Romans that are here. There's a Champagne Bubbles and I think a black strawberry. Don't quote me. I got the list. Yeah, black strawberry. So it's just too many in here. And of course, there's some calendula on the side and a lot of other things on the side. Here in front of me are a bunch of poppies. I have harvested so many of these heads to get the seeds. Once they dry out enough for me to shake the seeds out, then I just take them inside. This one also has calendula at the bottom. Right here behind the poppies are a container of cosmos that are doing so well. They get so tall. Sometimes I forget how tall they can get. And then again, there's another catastrophic bed behind that of tomatoes. Again, 5 tomatoes. I keep saying it every year. I'm not going to do it. And they need some serious love. I mean, they are struggle busing all over the place. All over the place. And so I got to get out here and fix it. In front of that is a container of, well, right now, just calendula. And then there's a 6-foot raised bed right there that is trying to grow some borage. But I'm going to pull all those borage out and put something else in there. And then there's that mountain mint that has definitely gone to flower. But it'll come back next year and be lovely. And then this thing right here is my one little seed challenge. Oh, wow. It's actually got tomatoes on it now, guys. Look. This thing took forever. Literally just this week is the first that I've seen of tomatoes. This is the Willie Kate Yellow. And it was a free seed. And so I planted exactly one seed. It's had flowers on it for a long time, but it just refused to have any tomatoes on it. There's some pansies in here. There is some basil in here because I put basil everywhere. There's some beans in here that I need to harvest. There's a calendula or two in there. Some weeds, of course, there's weeds everywhere. In this container, I have both calendula and also some more echinacea, 2 different varieties. More calendula. And next door, there's calendula and some beautiful zinnia. This is a Brad's Atomic Grape. That's a weed, friend. This is a Brad's Atomic Grape. Of course, there is some beautiful marigolds in there. The nasturtiums that were in there are pretty much done. I had to look up when these would be ripe because I had no idea. But supposedly it's when you see more reddish peeking through the purple stripes. So right here, I have a container of, there is some ginger mint in the center, there's some beans along the side, and then there's some basil right there. Over here, I have both foxgloves and lupins in here. And it looks like there's a zinnia in there as well that I forgot about. This is another of those low raised beds. It is 36 inches in diameter and fabric. And so I put one of these, I think this is a purple basil. And then I just stuck a bunch of plants that I had lying around. So there's a couple of melons here that have lots of flowers on them, or at least that one does. This one does right here. I think that's the Minnesota midget, and this is the either honey rock. Yeah, this is a honey. This is a honey rock, I think. And then as you can see, there's okra. There is purple, and then there is Clemson spineless. The purple is doing much better. I also have some basil here, which I don't remember what variety of basil this is. I think I had a tag somewhere. Oh, cinnamon. This is cinnamon basil. And then I have a few more melons here. A few. There's like 4 with some flowers. So we'll see how they go. This definitely needs some food as well. This was a dahlia. It did beautifully. I'll see. Toothpick plant, dill, all the things. And then over here, this is called a Too Tasty hybrid tomato. and or no, yeah, there's a Two Tasty hybrid. But as soon as they get that red color, and these are super prolific. They look like death before you put them in, but then they rally. And I got a bunch of marigolds here, of course, and some rosemary. Over here I have a couple more. What is this? Oh, those are dahlias. Over here I have a couple more eggplants that may or may not make it. More of the milkweed. There's just borage growing everywhere. I don't even try to control it anymore. And then back here in this container is sage. Sage, there was an allium bulb from the spring that I haven't cut. There's mint growing in front of that container. Weeds, of course. And then there's a little narrow rectangular container here that has a bunch of mint in it that I had the nerve to transplant. And then last but not least, I have this container of strawberries, this container of sage. This one is almost completely peppers. Ooh, let's turn it. Darn. Peppers, peppers, and more peppers. I'll leave a complete list of the peppers that I'm growing in the description box this year. So, peppers, and then this one has peppers, flowers, and some beans. This pink tower. And it is doing very well. And there's a little bit of basil in there too. Wow, look at these marigolds. They are doing absolutely fabulous. And then the zinnias at the top. All right, so that is the front and the backyard. Thank you so much for joining me. If I failed to mention it, I am growing here on the western coast of Washington State in Zone 8B. In the comments below, let me know how your garden is doing. If you have a YouTube channel, I will gladly come on over and follow you. Give me a like, consider subscribing. Thank you so much for joining me, and be blessed.